you can also visit our site or give us a chat to follow up on your installations. So not more about GenX. We also have another arms of GenX Solar Academy. This is a platform that has been ongoing, and this platform enables those that are inspiring to be solar installers to join this academy and be certified to be a solar expert in the industry. So we have currently we have a batch that we're looking at to start up by next month, tentatively 23rd of September. So it's an opportunity for anyone who inspired to be a solar installer in this solar growing industry, also participate and also get acquainted with technical know-how about everything concerning solar installation. Hello, please, for all right, please, you might need to mute your mic. Can you mute your mic, please? All right, thank you. So like I'm saying, we have a generous arms of Solar Academy, which enables inspiring solar installers to come and gain more knowledge about everything concerning solar installations, to become an expert in this solar industry. So like I said, we have a batch that will be coming up by next month. Please, we'll drop a link by the end of this program for those who are interested to join and register. Thank you. It's also an opportunity for you to become part of our dealers at the end of the program. The program spans for 6 weeks, for 12 weeks, and majorly is for Saturdays, every Saturday for 12 Saturdays. So it'll be interesting to see many people join coming up on this next coming batch that will be next month. So right now we'll be going into the main activity for today, which is looking at the topic effect of weather on solar PV systems and tips to optimize the performance. So at this point, I'll be introducing the facilitator, Mr. Henry, to take over. Thank you. Please, if you also have a question, as he's going to take us from now, please, you might need to write down your questions. We'll give a room for questions to be addressed. Please drop your questions at the chat box while we, just to have a smooth ride. So in the next few minutes, Mr. Henry will be taking us. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Henry Erwin Agie, and I'm the field coordinator in GenX Technology. Our topic today will be talking about the effects of weather on our solar panel. So, weather can affect the amount of sunlight that reaches the solar panel positively or negatively, and it can never, I repeat, it can never cause damage to your solar panel. With respect to how bad the weather is, be it very cloudy, very sunny, or there's no generation, there's heavy amount of rainfall, it can never damage your panel, irrespective of the weather. And today we'll be talking about the various parts of let's say forms of talking about the type of weather condition that can affect our generation. We have your clouds. I'll just name them before I explain them. We have your clouds. We have your hot temperature. We have your rain. We have your dust. For we in Africa, we have the dust. Then for people outside the country, they have their snow. So then we have wind too. Then the first we'll be starting with is the high temperature. When the weather is high, This increases the heat generated by the solar panel, and that in turn reduces the amount, the voltage of your solar panel. You can carry out this experiment yourself. You can check with, the amount of sunlight, and with that same amount of sunlight, when there's a lot of heat in the panel, you find that the voltage in the panel will drop a little bit. So when the temperature is very, very hot, there is a reduction in the voltage being generated by the solar panel. And you know, when there's reduction in the voltage, if you multiply that with the current that the panel is generating, that automatically has reduced your generation. The optimal operating temperature for solar panel is 25 degrees Celsius, which in turn is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the optimal operating temperature. So anything above that is no longer optimal. But the panel is designed in a way that it can work within a high and low temperature. The only thing is just that it's going to affect the amount of generation that you generate from the panel. Solar panel, the generation of solar panel degrades significantly when the temperature reaches 149 Fahrenheit, which is 65 degrees Celsius. That means when you have a very sunny day, there's that theory that we believe that people in the north tend to generate more energy from solar panels compared to those of us in the south. And people also say that during the dry season, you generate more energy than the rainy season. It's a complete false. You generate more energy during the rainy season because the clouds are clear due to the amount of rainfall. You have little dust. If you compare the percentage of energy you generate during the dry season and you compare it during the rainy season, you find that you generate more energy during the rainy season where the temperature is even cool compared to the dry season. Then I also want people to know with respect to temperature that there are some instances when the temperature, when you put panels together in series. That's why if you are installing a solar panel, you have to check the what is being written on the cables of the solar panel. Like for Canadian solar panel, it's stated that they can handle up to 1,000 volts. We have instances where the heat being generated by the panel, when you combine them in series, is so much that if you burn the cable of the solar panel, it won't burn the cable of that is taking the power into the house, but the cable that connects one panel to the other panel, it will burn it. So that's also the effect of heat on our generation. The next time we're talking about cloud. Cloud, this reduces the amount of sunlight that reaches the solar panel, thereby reducing the amount of electricity generated by the solar panel. We all know that when it's cloudy, it blocks the sun ray. And when we have cloud, it affects our generation. The next one is rainfall. Although when rain is falling, it helps to cool down the panel. With respect to what we said earlier, we're talking about the temperature, heat. When rain is falling, it helps to cool down the temperature of panel. It also helps to clean dust from the solar panel. But we know that when rain falls, rain is also accompanied by cloud. So when there's rainfall, there's bound to be low generation. It affects the generation of energy from the solar panel. Then also, I want to say something about rain. We should also note that our solar panels are not waterproof. I repeat, solar panels are not waterproof. That means, with respect to how they make that solar panel, I know we say it has a glass plate on top. Water cannot enter into the glass. We all did diffusion in school, where water tend to move from a good example is when you're inside the car, you are driving and the rain is falling. You know there's a way that inside you have something like a little bit of fog inside your glass. You don't have air conditioner, you have to now start using um, cloth to clean your glass. So what I have a way of moving into those panels. If you buy substandard panels, you find that over a period of time, you start seeing some brownish stuff on those terminals, those little aluminum terminals cells inside the panel, because that glass was not well prepared by the manufacturer. So water tends to enter very easily and start corroding the terminal. So we should know that irrespective of how um, sophisticated our panels are not waterproof. Water can enter, but water cannot damage solar panels. Then we just know that during the rainfall, there's a reduction in the solar generation, the energy generated from the from the solar panel. Then and this also in turn affects the amount of energy that is being stored in our batteries. When there's poor generation, you know your load will be there, then you have to store energy in your battery. This will affect your generation and affect your storage, the battery. Then lastly, we have your snow or dust. This also reduces the amount of sunlight that hits the plate of the solar panel. We all know how dusty our environments are during the dry season. When there's a lot of dust, it can even reduce our generation to as low as 10%. Let's assume you have 10,000 watts, 10,000 watt capacity of solar panel on the roof. Dust can help you reduce that to as low as 10%, if not even more. We've had instances where we had to go to a site every week to go and clean their panel because of the environment. Then, lastly, wind. Early this year, um, a lot of panels were blown off the roof because the way they installed it on the roof, they didn't use the proper installing material. Wind, wind is a strong factor when it comes to installing solar panels. If you install 10 units of solar panels and wind blows 4 out of it, it's going to cost you a lot to come back and install those panels. So especially in areas that are close to the water, majorly on the island, those environments that are being surrounded by water, they have strong wind. So now we'll be talking about the tips of optimal or of optimal performance. Proper system sizing. Proper system sizing in the sense that we all know that the sunlight that hits our panel is not constant. If you install 10,000 watts of panel, you are not going to get 10,000 watts from morning to evening. You might get 10,000 watts in maybe just 5 minutes, and the sun will go. The cloud will cover the radiation from the sun. So your generation keep going up and coming down. So when it comes to system sizing, you know that okay, this client is going to need um 10,000 watts. What do I do? You size in such a way that you put like maybe 70% factor that okay, if I install this amount of panel, I should be able to get 10,000 watts, be even when it's cloudy. So that's where system sizing comes about. You size your battery, you size the load, then you make a little bit room for excess so that when there's load generation, you will still be able to get that 10,000 watt generation. Your client will start using the battery during the daytime because the sun just went down. Then use of quality mounting structures between panel and roof for cooling and air circulation. These days, you have a lot of people installing solar panels with different mounting accessories. You have the ones that use those rays they use for windows, for aluminum windows. The effect of that, we talked about temperature. Wind, it's air. Air is supposed to be able to go under the solar panel and go out to the other side, help to cool down the heat under the solar panel. When you mount, some people they don't even use that, they just carry the panel, they just put it on the roof like that, lay it flat on the roof. When you do something like that, heat tends to build under the solar panel, and this will affect the generation negatively. When there's temperature, the voltage, the operating voltage of the solar panel will reduce, and this in turn will affect the overall generation of the solar panel. Then install solar panels in a location that receives plenty of sunlight. I know this at times you cannot manage this because there are some client house that you go to, you find that the south is owned by a different person, while the west or north is where you want to install the solar panel, being owned by your client. So most times there's nothing you can do about that. But in a situation where you know that this client has south, you try your best to make sure that you put as many panels as possible that south part of the roof can take. You put it on that part of the roof before you start making plans to put the other panels on the other part of the roof. Then at the top, at the first time, we talk about proper system sizing. For a client that you know that is not the owner for of the southern part of the roof, is the one that owns the northern part or the east or whatever. What you do there, you know that you won't be getting proper generation. In that situation, you increase the number of panels for that client so that what he has lost in the proper direction, he will gain it by adding more panels on his roof. Then we'll go to use of proper and good quality installation material. This boils down to the last effect of the climate, which is wind. Early this year, there was a situation where a client had to come and I had to go and help them do some stuff on their roof. The installers that did the installation before, they used those little aluminum railings. And when there was now heavy wind, the wind blew up. The client has up to about 18 inches of panel, and the wind blew up 6 out of the panel because those panels were connected in series, high voltage. When there's high voltage, if wind take off one of the panels, because we interlock all those cables together, if the wind pick one of the panels, it's going to pick the other one. So it pick the 6 panels in a row. So if you don't install your panels with proper mounting accessories, when wind comes, the wind is not going to tell you the day it's going to come. It's not going to say, I will come next year, I will come next year. But when the wind comes, it's going to take off those panels and destroy them. Then, talking about proper system installation. Proper system installation. We have what we call, when it comes to system installations, you are talking about your mounting accessories, you are talking about the terminals, those your MC4s, the BM21, the BM31. Some individuals, instead of them to get those materials trying to reduce cost, they just cut those heads of the panel, then they twist them together. If you twist them together and you don't properly tape them, when rain falls, water will enter inside that terminal. And when water enters inside that terminal, it's going to start corroding the cable. To corrode the cable is not going to just corrode that place where you tape. It's going to corrode it down to inside the panel. It's going to turn that your cable, it's going to turn it to powder or dust. we've experienced it with people that fought stamina before, so we've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So it's going to go. So if peradventure you can't get those MC4, the BM21, if you cut and join, you have to properly tape it very well so that water cannot enter inside the cable. Then practice good energy. Okay, the next one is saying clean solar panel. Clean solar panel regularly. During your dry season, especially, you have to clean your solar panel. I made mention of going to a site every week. I don't know if people are conversant with Lusada. If you are conversant with Lusada, you know they are working on that road. We have a project there that we are managing. We have to go to, during the dry season, we have to go to that place every week. If you don't clean your panels regularly during the dry season, it's going to affect your generation. It's not going to stop there. When it affects your generation, the little energy you are generating during the daytime, your client is going to use it during the daytime. You are not going to have anything stored in your battery. Maybe little is stored in your battery. The client will manage it through the night. When it continues like that for more than a week, your battery will not charge. You are going to spoil that battery. So when peradventure rain now falls and you now think sun is not shining, the panel is clean, the battery is supposed to charge. You've already surfeit the battery. You've already subject the battery to insufficient charge. The battery will not be able to store anything again. And if you have 8 batteries, you know how much to replace 8 batteries. So you have to schedule during dry season, irrespective of the location. Let your client know, schedule a maintenance plan. Let them know that you have to come. You can put it once a month or once in 2 months to clean their solar panel. Then lastly, practice good energy management. What I believe or what I normally see is that irrespective of the amount of solar panel you install for a client, you have to let the client know that they have to learn how to manage it, because there are a lot of equipment. If they don't carry out energy management, they can decide to put on their coffee machine, on their washing machine, on their microwave, put on TV, start pressing iron. At the same time, even if you have a lot of energy, they will drain the battery, they will consume the generation. Nothing is going to go into the battery. So practice good energy management during this temperate period. When there is heavy rainfall, you let the client know. If there is light and that nobody is in the room, they put off the light. They have to learn how to carry out power management, how to manage their energy, use what they know that, put on what they need to use at that particular time. They are not using the system. But I believe most clients these days, they already know how to carry out power management due to the use of this prepaid meters. So everybody now, they know how to manage their energy so that they don't consume a lot of energy carried from the NEPA prepaid meter. So they should use that same way that they are managing themselves, not to pay for more electric bill. They should also put that practice into their solar energy. They should say because now they have solar, sun is shining, they should put on everything. No, they have to carry out energy management. So if there's any question with respect to weather affecting solar panel that you feel you would like to ask, you can go ahead and ask. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Engineer Henry. It's actually a wonderful and exciting topic, and you've actually done justice to it. We thank you for that lecture. So right now we'll be going down to questions. If you have any question, please let's attend to them. You can start sending in your questions. We'll be taking them gradually. Okay, I have one here. It says, I want to ask, how does people living in country with cold temperatures generate electricity through solar panel,
Yes.
like Canada,
Russia.
Russia, etc.?
Yes. Hello? Yeah. In those places, from what I've seen, even probably what we'll do, I'll share some video with our Martin accessories. We can with the can I go? With the Genesis Martin accessories, you can use that Genesis ray to install panels on the ground, which is ground mount. You don't have that ray. It's not only meant to install on the roof. So what we do later on, we'll share that video to our various platforms so you see the video. So I was watching a movie one day and I saw in a very cold temperate region, I saw solar panels and I saw the way they mount those solar panels on the ground. So that was where I got the idea for. I will now replicate the same idea in one of Petrocam's gas station. So in those areas like Russia, Canada, they still use solar panel to generate electricity. The weather might be cold, but sun still shines in those areas. And as long as there's sunshine, and even when it comes to solar panel, it's not necessarily the sun. As from 6:30, as soon as the day is bright, you start generating energy from your solar panel. As soon as you can see outside, you generate energy. So in those places that have that are very, very cool, you can see use solar panel. They use solar panel in these areas. But the only thing is now that you won't be able to generate as much as we over here.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sirs. I came in quite maybe about within less than 5 minutes ago. I just got this invite this morning, and I'm happy that I'm still able to meet up. The last question that was raised, I just want to make an input.
Okay.
It is alarming at the rate at which a lot of us are copying wrong things, especially from the West. You know, yet in our own practice of installing here in Nigeria. If you observe very well, you see that most of the times when you see solar panels on rooftops, most people follow the same pattern that they've seen in pictures, that they've seen maybe on TVs of how it's being done in the West, talking about abroad, Canada, US, and UK, forgetting the fact that Nigeria is a hot temperate region as against those places where they saw those pictures from and they copy from them. And the problem is that when you don't rack your panels, when you don't when you don't have enough space between the panel and the rooftops, as these panels are generating electricity, they're also generating heat. And the higher the temperature, it will create resistance for the flow of currents. The storage of current is what we need in the batteries to use at night when there is no sun or NEPA. So most people copy wrongly. We need to understand that here in Nigeria, we have a hot temperature as against those in the West. So we need to always rack our panel. It's always appalling to me when I see a lot of installers, they just put a quarter profile to attach the panel to the roof without using substantive equipment to space the panel from the roof. And as a result of that, there's no ventilation. And when there's no ventilation, it will increase temperature. And once there's increase in temperature, it will build up a resistance for the flow of current. And at the evening, there will be little or no storage of current, on the batteries. These things is sometimes for some of us that appears to know this thing, it's really is not good. And personally, I really appreciate this move the people that have brought this together. So I just want to use that to chip this in, because somebody asked that question now, talking about how can we generate electricity in the West where there is cold and all that. So I saw it that it's appropriate for me to quickly chip this in. In Nigeria, we have a hot region. Unfortunately, we don't have racks. I'm just hearing it for the first time from Gen X now, that there is a rack that they've done that can be used on the rooftops that allows enough space for cooling. I will personally appreciate seeing this rack, because what I have been doing on my own is to generate, to construct personally. I use aluminum profile, 50 mm by 100 mm.
Okay.
And then I attach this cutter profile to it. At the end of the day, it gives me up to 6 inches space between the roof and the panel.
And the panel, yes.
If I have something better than that, I would use, but it's a lot better than just using cutter profile, which is just about 1 inch.
Yes, just put the panel on top.
That is what a lot of people are doing, and it's destroying, in fact, to the detriment of owners. Most owners, after using the battery for 3, 4, 5 months, the battery is bad. And that's why most people have not seen the beauty of using solar. They see it as a means of wasting money. Installers, we need to come together. We need to be on page. And I commend the people that have put this together. And I will also want to plead that we should sustain this, so that if we are able to do this among ourselves, more people can begin to see the benefits and the advantage of using solar, and we'll have enough people patronizing us, either as installers or as sellers or as manufacturers of these equipment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rotimi. Indeed, we really appreciate your input. This is actually insightful, and we look forward to hear more from you. We have solar mounting rails that we use for installations, and you can visit our site or contact any of us who engage you more on this. We'll have them in stock as we speak. I think the reason why most people don't even use it is just to save cost, but at the end is not appropriate. So we'll go to the next question. We have one from Mr. Ogungbe Babatunde. He said, where is the most appropriate place your panel should face for higher efficiency? I think Henry mentioned this, but you can just go more like
it's supposed to face the south. Your panel is supposed to face the south, because you know your sun it rises from the east and sets at the west. So if your panels are facing the south all through the day, from morning to evening, you'll be generating. And you know our location in Nigeria at the equator line. You know we are towards the north part of the equator. Yeah. So we are towards the north. So when the sun shines, if your panels are facing the south, you'll be able to generate energy.
All right, welcome back to the morning show right here. And bringing us what's trending from around the world is Ayo.
Can someone mute their mic? Okay.
All the way from the University of Swansea.
Mr. Greg, can you mute your mic? Thank you.
But when it comes to a situation where the clients is not the owner of the southern part of the road, you know, in Lagos, most especially, you have they'll build a house, they call it detachable. So one person will have the south, one person will have the north, like that. So if you are not installing for someone in the north, the only thing you have to do is now increase the amount of solar panels that you ask the person to get, compared to the person that is staying on the south. So the right place to install your solar panels in Nigeria is to put it on the south. Then if you don't have the south to put it, and you have the west to put it, let's assume the person does not have the south, the next good place to put it is the west, so that as from around 12, you start generating maximum. From around 12, the panels at the west will generate more than the panels even on the south, because they are just directly facing the solar panels. But when you do the cumulative generation, if you put panels on the south and you put panels on the west, if you do the cumulative generation for a day, the panels on the south will generate more. But from 12 to 5 in the evening or 6, the panels on the west will generate more than panels on the south.
All right, thank you. I think that answers the question clearly. So we have another question from Mr. Anu Namdi. He's asking, how can we strength connect PV models of different power ratings? Yeah.
Okay. For panels with different, because there are panels with different sides. You understand? You can, the thing you do is that you check the back of the panel. Let's assume a client bought 300 watt panel before. You install 300 watt panel for the person before. And now you go to the market, you can't get 300 watt panel again. They have 350 or they have 400. We all know that if you bring 350 and you bring 400, and you put them together in series,
whatever it is they want to do. So,
and you put them together in series. If you put them together in series, note that the current that is going to flow through that string is the one of that 300 watts. You are not going to get the current that is written on that 400 watts or 350 watts. You are going to get the lowest one that you combine with that other panels in series. So, but the thing you have to do is to check the nameplate. You make sure that their voltage, the operational voltage is close to each other. Don't go and bring 12-volt panel and put it in series with 24-volt panel. You will spoil everything. So you have to put panels that their voltage range are close together. You can put them together in series or you put them together in parallel.
Thank you. We have another question from Mr. Oluwatosin. He's asking, you made mention of 25 degrees centigrade as the required temperature for solar panels to work well, but I suppose that the temperature under STC, that is under standard operation, and not operational temperature, probably when under the sun. Can you shed more light on this, Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Did you get the question?
Yes, I get it. I understand. It's like when you buy your panel. When you buy your solar panel, in the panel, they write 300 watts panel. When they say 300 watt panel, that does not mean that if you take that solar panel outside under sun, if you short circuit the panel, that's the best way to test the power or the wattage, the exact watt of that panel. Under sun, 12 o'clock, that should be the highest, the time you get the highest generation from the sun. And you short circuit it and you clamp it. When you measure it, you will not get that that exact 300 watts. You might get close to, or you might even get more than 300 watts, because we have clients calling to tell us that they generate more than what is being written in the solar panel. This temperature, this 25 degrees Celsius, is from the factory. They tell you that this should have been the ideal temperature for your solar panel to work optimally, where you are supposed to get that. If they say it's 300 watts, that's where you are supposed to get that 300 watts. But we know it will be hard for you to get this particular temperature. But it's just good we know that, okay, this, just like when you are installing your solar panel, you know that you should know that south is the best place to install the solar panel. But we all know that you will get to site and you might not get that south to install your solar panel. So you have to make do of what you see on the site. So that's also exactly what that degree. I just feel like I have to let you people know, because you are supposed to know the best temperature for your solar panel to work and the temperature that your panel will generation will reduce drastically, which is that 140 something Fahrenheit.
All right, thank you. So we're taking just one more, 2 questions, then we'll wrap it up. But we have a question from Mr. Kazim. He says, what can cause an inverter system to shut down early in the morning, and when we use generator or NEPA to charge it back? After some minutes, it will show battery charge. Thanks.
Your batteries are bad. Your batteries are no longer storing energy. If you check your batteries, if you physically inspect your batteries and you see that there's no budging by the side of the battery, you know that battery, what happened was that the battery went bad due to insufficient charge. But if there was budging on the side of the battery, you know that it is overcharging or heat that made the battery go bad. But for that, it means the batteries are no longer accepting charge. If you charge it, within 2 hours, it's going to tell you the battery is full. And once you load it, within less than 2 hours, it will go off. It means your batteries are bad. The only thing you have to do is to test individual battery. If it's a 48-volt system, when you carry out test on the 4 batteries or 8 batteries, but 48-volt system, you have 4 batteries in the string. So when you test the 4 batteries on that string, you will see one, likely you will see one that is bad. And that one might be reading like 10 volts, 8 volts, 9, 6, depending on how bad it is. So that one alone can make your system behave like it's fully charged and make your system behave like it's low. So if you pull that battery out of the system, if you have 8 batteries, you test the other down 4 batteries, you take one from that one that you pick that look like it's good and add it to that one. It will be better than having 8 batteries with one bad batteries in them.
All right, thank you for answering that question, Mr. Aaron. So we are wrapping up right now, and thank you. Just want to say thank you for joining this section. We really appreciate for all your input, your time, and your contributions. We hope to see you subsequently for next expose that will be coming up, and we will also share the section recordings in all our platforms for those that missed out or for those that didn't join early, so that you get the full details. On this point, we just want to say thank you. You can visit our links, our social media platforms too.
Hello.
For
Kindly
more
put me
engagement,
on one of
to
your
see more
platform, please.
product. Yeah.
I'm not on any of the platform. Kindly enlist me on one of them, please.
Okay. Your name, please.
Phone number.
My name is Rotimi Omotuyi.
Okay, Mr. Rotimi. Can you type in your number as well, so we'll pick it up as well?
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Aaron. Do you have any other input or anything to say? All right. Thank you.
Number.